So I got this one clip right here of Lord Jamar on Vlad. You know, they done made up. Lord Jamar on Fat Joe claiming he robbed 70 people by himself, and people called him and people calling him Cap Joe. Oh man, not Cap Joe. Let's see what this shit is about.
Well, speaking of the 5% Nation, what do you know about God.K.A, Great God-Allah? You know what I'm talking about right now, right? You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. And what's funny is, you know, I was really waiting to see if any other like prominent 5%ers would come out and talk about this and really like address it. And, you know, but it really seems like people are scared.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. Is it? Because the way people talk about it, it's like the gods I know back in the days would have never stood for that.
We're talking about Fat Joe, by the way. Fat Joe claimed that he's from a project called Godsville.
Forest, but that was the nickname.
And it's live.
A nickname for it called Godsville.
Right.
Because a lot of 5%ers, you know.
Right. He says so.
Now, that's true.
That's
also,
true. It was like the Mecca of the 5%ers. He said, I was God.K.A, Great God-Allah.
So, all right, real quick. Because to what Jamar said, and I don't be agreeing with everything that nigga said, but I will agree to this. There was a time, especially in New York City, you did not, and I mean did not, play with the nation of gods and earth. With the 5% nation. Shit did not happen, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Niggas was a force. You understand what I'm saying? And more so, not even just playing, bro, but even if you even if you were a part of the nation, like you had to know your lessons. You get what I'm saying? So if a brother greeted you and said, "Peace, God, what's today's mathematics?" That was a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like there were the lessons. I don't know. I didn't get like that deep into it. Outside of like most of my favorite rappers in the beginning were affiliated with the 5% Nation, or at least you know, they had knowledge of self or whatever and shit. Wu-Tang, of course, like being from Staten Island and shit like that. This is Godland, man. Like I don't, you know, I don't take nothing away from anybody else, but like my nigga out here. But yeah, this was that. You know what I mean? Queens was a stronghold for that shit. Like every borough had a stronghold where like the 5% Nation was super, you know, super tight. If anybody watching this or whatever from New York, y'all could jump in the comments and let me know where the gods were strong, you know what I'm saying, in your borough at. But at the same time though, you had what they called renegade gods or something, I want to say. You know what I mean? And they were like niggas who were Godbody, but they were still involved in, you know, every aspect of the street. A good example of that would be like the Supreme team. You know, like Supreme is a prominent 5%er name, Prince, Black Justice, you understand what I'm saying? And like, you know, justice can be, in the 5% Nation, can be anything, and you know, like it could be a universal ass whooping. they didn't say actual, they would say beat down, I think. And they think, but either way, it's like justice could come in many forms. You get what I'm saying? Like when you deal with the nation. So yeah.
And there you go.
Right. Now, let me just say, no self-respecting 5%er, God, Earth, is going to allow someone to incorporate negative with positive in their attribute / name like that.
So since crack is negative, it would not be a 5% name. You're right. I haven't heard any names.
That's like
crack or killer.
Heroin got a law. Like cocaine got like that shit.
Supreme.
It's some shit. Like if you rolled up to a cipher and yo, peace God, my name is Cocaine God of Law, you would have received what is called a universal beatdown.
Okay.
You would have got what is called justice. Justice is one's reward or penalty for one's ways and actions. It can be something positive, or it could be something negative. You would have got justice for that. And that mean, and it wouldn't have just been.
Yeah, and see, that's exactly what I was just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like justice doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you got beat down or DP'd or whatever. Nigga might just correct your actions. You understand what I'm saying? He might give you further knowledge of self. You understand what I'm saying? So, and then that in itself or whatever is just like, you know, it's a blessing. So, yeah, like that dope. Like, you know, he was able to clarify that. Like I said, I don't know all of it, but you know what I'm saying? I know enough.
In one person, like all the gods would have been whooping on your ass for running up saying some crazy shit like that.
Well, but here's the thing though. According to Fat Joe, he robbed as a teenager 70 people. He robbed a whole auditorium of people
and made them
without a weapon. He robbed so many people that some of them would carry the things that he robbed. Nobody ran. I mean, 70 people.
Listen, I truly believe
70 people with no gun in the Bronx, nigga? Man, because if you did this, well, if you was that bad, right, then you shouldn't have even like been worried about. I mean, like you could have been worried, cautious, but you wouldn't have been that scared of Boy George if you had that kind of heart. 70 Bronx niggas. The people who were carrying the coat were probably a part of your crew. Cause like shit like that would happen. Like, you know, it'd be a whole crew of niggas. I mean, like them Red Hook niggas or whatever and shit, they robbed the F train. The whole train. From the front car to the back. So, you know, but 70 people by yourself in the 80s, 90s, I ain't jacking it. I don't even think Pistol Pete would even jack that shit. Like, or would even say that he, I don't know, but yeah, that's.
That Fat Joe is, he knows that they calling him Cap Joe. He knows that.
Oh, he's Cap Joe?
That's, everybody calls him Cap Joe.
Listen, I remember I interviewed him. We're going to play a little clip of this. In our interview, our last interview, it's been years ago. Like I heard that Joe doesn't like me these days, whatever, right? But when we did our interview back when we were cool, he said that him and Biggie had a joint album that never came out.
Yeah, I talk to Biggie almost every day.
Really?
Yeah. On the phone.
You guys never recorded together though?
We did, but it never came out. And
oh, really?
Yeah, we did record. We was doing an album.
Was the song ever leaked or anything?
No, we did like 4 songs, but
You did 4 songs with
With
Biggie that
Biggie.
no one's ever heard.
never.
What the fuck?
I don't
Who-
think you'll ever hear
Who's
it.
the producer?
If you do, you'll get upset.
Who's the
It's
producer?
Puff Daddy.
Okay, never mind.
So whatever.
Nigga, what? Yo, I don't even remember this part. I remember hearing that story, but I always kind of figured, nigga, if there's 4 Biggie verses lying around here, right? Somebody would have been popped up with that shit out the woodwork, nigga. I promise you, they would have. But Cap Joe.
Yeah, so I was gonna sign the.
I talked to everyone I knew that was actually with Biggie during this era. That really was with him the whole time. Everyone said this just never happened. In fact, if it did, we would have heard this music, right? Like Biggie had so few lyrics to begin with that everyone's trying to get any sort of piece of them. There's a whole album that never got released. Joe, I'm sorry. Like, I've talked to people. They all said it's just not true. And this was years ago.
So I feel like he knows that the internet, the streets, whatever, call him Cab Joe. So now I feel like he's just coming up with the biggest whoppers in order to go viral, like, because he's going viral.
It's working
every other day.
Salute to Fat Joe.
Like
mission accomplished.
No, but hold up. No, because you can't cross certain lines. Like the crack him, great God Allah, that was crossing a line right there. That's not cool. That's not cool to even insinuate that 5%ers would have accepted you in amongst us with that name is crazy. Like, that's just crazy, and it's just crossing a certain line that doesn't need to be crossed. But at the same time, I'm gonna have to blame us, and I'm gonna say the 5%ers for not being as strong as we used to be, because if we was how we used to have it, a motherfucker wouldn't even think of saying no shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? But I feel like now he's like, ain't no happened. You know what I mean? The gods ain't moving like that, like how they used to. So,
and here's the thing with that, right? Prior to the blood becoming force in New York City's correctional system, and eventually the city as a whole, the state, there were no real groups in the jails for black to be a part of. Like, you had gangs like the Savage Nomad, Black Spades, the Tomahawks, the list goes on, the Jolly Stompers, all these different crews and everything, right? And but then, of course, you had the Decepticons and the Lowlives, and that was a whole thing that was citywide. You know what I mean? But it was everybody couldn't really be down, and it's when the Latin Kings and the Nietas took a hold of Rikers Island and all that shit. It they were oppressing the blacks. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure some of y'all seen the stories or whatever and all that. But in the midst of doing that, it was no group for just regular black criminals to be a part of. Everybody couldn't be Godbody. Everybody damn sure couldn't be, down with, NOI, FOI, whatever shit, whatever structure they had like within the jail. You know what I mean? So when OG Mac and a couple of other, dudes got together and decided to form, what would become like the UBN and all that, it was really just so that, it was unifying dudes that were in the streets that made maybe their aspect of their lifestyle or whatever and shit didn't coincide with the 5% nation or, the nation of Islam, like, the power structure they had. And that was that. And then, naturally it starts off in Rikers Island and these niggas start getting convicted and going into the state. You know what I mean? And then it just started spreading because initially it started off as a prison gang. You know what I mean? Like it was only meant to stay behind that wall for those fences. And then brought it onto the street. You know what I'm saying? And then the first blood, like in there, some of them niggas were Godbody at one point. You get what I'm saying? But again, like renegade gods. You know what I'm saying? Like I know a lot of niggas from, my era when I was growing up that started out, being Godbody or whatever, or niggas known them to have 5% of names and shit. And then all of a sudden around 96, 97, 98, you start, whole red. But the gods were definitely a force to be reckoned with, you know what I'm saying? Like probably, and still to some degree, you know what I'm saying? There's probably still some niggas out here, not to be played with. Still pushing the line, but for the most part, I mean, I didn't really see too much of it up north unless I was running into niggas who've been down for like 20 years and, the life of niggas.
That's on us, and we got to get our, you know what I mean? We have to get our shit back right. But I say that to say, and I remember when Fat Joe used to wear a kufi, not a crown, but Fat Joe used to wear a kufi back in the days. There used to be this spot called Quando's, and on the Lower East Side, and they used to do like hip hop shit up in there. This lady Amanda Shear, she was the promoter, and it was one of those, this is like 89, 90. And that's the first time I seen Fat Joe. And he used to come around, he used to have army fatigues on with a kufi. You know what I mean?
I think I've seen these pictures.
But he didn't introduce himself as no crack him, God-Allah, he was still Fat Joe. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, I didn't think that was cool, but he's definitely coming up with mad whoppers in order to promote the shit with him and Jada. Yeah. And Jada to me is hilarious because Jada just be laughing like he knows he's lying. like he's like, yo, not another one. Like when he said crack him, great God Allah, Jada said, yo, 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 yo. Me and my brother kept saying that. We was like, yo, 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 yo. Like, yo, that shit was hilarious. And he just keep doing it. Like, he'll say some shit like, nah, come on, man. Like, he's always just, I guess he's doing what he got to do, man, to get his show popping. But I just didn't appreciate that. But then the internet started interneting. And then did you see when they had him like with the kufi on and he had on the universal flag, and they got him standing next to Farrakhan and all kind of crazy shit. Yeah, they started getting him. They started getting him.
Started getting busy.
So that shit will backfire on you sometimes. The internet starts interneting.
Has there ever been a white 5%er?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like straight white, not mixed.
Yeah, straight white. Fucking Azriel, the father of Allah, taught a dude named Azriel.
Azriel.
Mm-hmm.
Straight white guy.
Straight white guy.
So if I want to be a 5%er, I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But you can't just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to make sure that you're.
No, I wouldn't play around with it. That's the thing. I wouldn't do it
we know
just to go viral.
We don't let original people play around with it. So
Right,
we're definitely
yeah.
not letting
I'm just
nobody else
asking.
play around.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Not that I'm intending to do it. I'm just asking. How it
Yeah,
works.
we you know, the 5%ers are pro-righteousness, anti-devilishment.
Okay.
So that's another thing. That's what I'm saying. Crack is part of devilishment. How are you going to have a devilish, some sort of
Yeah, see, like where most people usually like align the 5% nation like ideology with what you call it, with like the Nation of Islam, the whole like white devil thing. Like there is some connotation, you know what I mean, of that, but it's really just overall like righteousness, right? Because it's not righteous to judge a man based on his appearance or whatever like shit, but rather his character. You know, so it's like that doesn't necessarily, you know what I mean? It's a universal movement and not a nationalist movement. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I always say like one of the illest things like growing up in the era is before, you know, like nowadays, you know, you calling these like young niggas and, you know, all that shit or whatever. Like before somebody had like called me, you know, a real nigga, street nigga or whatever and shit like that. I remember being around like 9 years old or whatever and always remember, little man, you God. And like, I ain't, you know, like run with it, but it was, you know, like, and then it was explanation behind it. You understand what I'm saying? And the way, like, you know, he explained it, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like dope or whatever. And it does do something for esteem, like, because you kind of feel like you got to act or carry yourself a certain way. You get what I'm saying? Like to be clean and, I mean, like, niggas is crazy like that, but you know what I'm saying?